More and more Nintendo is beginning to browse Reddit and figure out who the emulation industry is comprised of. They are figuring out individual identities, countries of origin, occupations, and they are making lists of people that need to be taken out. There have been people that have been imprisoned. There have been people that have been fined. And there are people that are going to get killed at the hands of the Nintendo Ninjas. All because emulation in all of its forms is completely 100% illegal. And Nintendo is demonstrating that over and over and over again, with more and more of these major YouTubers getting taken out. Massive blows are being made against the emulation industry. They're taking down Etsy stores. They're doing everything they possibly can to protect their brands. Power World is just the beginning. This crusade against the against the uh, against the evil uh, cultists that comprise the anti-Nintendo demographic, right? The pirates that make YouTube live streams pretending that they're huge fans of playing Nintendo games on their high-end gaming PCs. Those guys are going to be in legal trouble. I expect Mutahar to get cracked down on at some point. I expect a large number of people in the emulation community to get completely raped because of what they've been doing over the past several years. Right? It's not just in regards to the Switch emulation. It's not about that. It's in regards to the entire backlog of Nintendo's releases and games. It is unacceptable how the PC Master Race has kind of delusionally pushed this idea that what they do is completely legal and that there's nothing anyone can do to stop them and that they are the best video game platform on the planet. Not only is PC gaming irrelevant, the only thing keeping it relevant, Steam, is a vastly inferior product to Nintendo. This is clear to anyone who has spent enough time with both. And so PC gamers have to do this weird thing where they have to spend an exorbitant amount of money to make up for all of Steam's very blatant flaws, right? They have to invest in VPNs. They have to support Patreons to get new emulators made. They have to do all this stuff to make sure that their high-end gaming rigs are capable of circumventing copyright and playing these Nintendo games day one, right? Otherwise, if they get even a day behind, it becomes quicker and easier to simply just play these games on Nintendo Switch. And this is what we've been seeing over the past several years, where they gaslight you and harass you about this idea that emulators are a superior place to play Nintendo games, but it is not and never has been true. And what's more, we're reaching the point where the legally gray area that these people currently inhabit is going deep in the black. It's kind of like how back in the day, how pirates were like storming all over the Caribbean and were like causing all these problems, right? They were doing whatever they wanted, killing all these people, raping bitches, getting into fights with locals and causing problems for the government. Like, oh, you can't do anything to stop us. What happened? They were stopped. People cracked down on that shit. And the age of piracy came to an end, right? The same thing is going to happen to like Nintendo Switch. Actually, it already has happened, to be completely honest with you, because you already can't find ROM sites. You already can't get functional emulators. Like more and more red tape is going up. Like emulating Nintendo games is getting more and more difficult all the time, especially because you can't just go online and just download a ROM off the internet like you used to. Now you have to like circumvent all this extra security, and you have to deal with online play, and you have to deal with the fact that Nintendo is capable of coming after you, right? Like this is something that people are gonna have to worry about. Like how are like emulation YouTubers going to like go to bed at night when they know that the Nintendo ninjas can just come for them anytime? Like I know people who have been killed in the middle of the night because they emulated Nintendo games, right? Like it's not an uncommon occurrence, but you don't hear about it because Nintendo covers up their tracks and just doesn't really talk about the grittier side of what they do. Like the emulation community is getting smaller all the time to the point where it feels like nobody's really playing Nintendo games at all. But they're still pretending like they do. They're still pretending as if like, well, I can play um I can play Donkey Kong Country at 4K. Like nobody cares, okay? Like nobody cares about playing Donkey Kong Country at on a 4K PC monitor, okay? Like it's just not important. It isn't making the game any better, right? You're just completely wasting your time and money when you could just play the game on a Nintendo Switch, right? And that's not the only example, but it's a pretty good indication of just where things are right now in regards to the emulation community and just how all of it is falling apart. Like I don't think people really processing the fact that the instant that the emulation community collapses, once the general public begins to realize that they can't just emulate Nintendo games like so many pretend they can, once that becomes more well known as being a crime that will get you fucked. Once all that happens, like the PC Master Race and the mobile community as well, these brands are going to completely collapse because the only games that anybody is going to want to play are on Nintendo hardware, and that's been true for a long time, but people have been like circumventing it by playing like 20-year-old Game Boy games on emulators for forever. Like, oh man, look at me, I can play Pokemon Red on my phone. Like it's completely out of touch with like the reality of gaming, how much things have evolved, and the current state of things. When you really process just the current state of gaming and Nintendo in general, you can see that Nintendo is dominating, not just when it comes to their market viability or the sales of their consoles or games. It's because the law is on their side when it comes to all of these recent legal happenings. Yes, they are going to take down emulation by buying up the emulators, seizing control of them, and preventing them from being used in any capacity. Right? They own Ryujinx and Yuzu now, and they will not be available for download because of that. And if you do use them, you are illegally using Nintendo's own software. So yeah, they will be able to come after you for that, for using an emulator, not just the pirated games. Like using the emulator is illegal now. You have them cracking down on piracy itself, right? You have them like uh, they are in a position where their competition just cannot, cannot succeed. They are they're completely done, and it's only a matter of time until more people start to appreciate that.